Welcome to the Nicholas Brown Podcast, a podcast talk show about real estate investing, business leadership, and personal development. Each week, we explore current real-life case studies about how to build financial independence through investing in real estate to build your personal portfolio through passive income models, along with interviews from the top business leaders and personal development leaders. Now, here's your host, Nicholas Brown.
Welcome to the show, everyone. This is episode number 39. And once again, I'm excited. This is a special episode also. I want to educate you. And this is going to be the source, ladies and gentlemen, for Passive REI Network, because I believe in building an authority figure. This person here, the goal is to have more ongoing educational videos, or text this person whenever you need. He's gonna educate you and get you to the right source. I know it. I believe it. He has a podcast. There's loads of information. So make sure you guys subscribe to this YouTube channel also, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to this video. There's a playlist. I have multiple episodes. If you're listening in, go ahead and download this episode also, along with others. So here we go. We're going to read the About section. We're going to get straight to this information, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have a treat here. So this is episode 39, and we have cost segregation expert Yonah Weiss. And Yonah Weiss is the business director for Madison SPECS. He provides you with expertise along with engineering-based cost segregation studies to observe. With that said, did you know cost segregation is an IRS-approved process for reclassifying real estate components and improvements to accelerate depreciation, deductions, defer taxes, and improve cash flow? Yonah's in-house team of engineers and accountants combine tax and engineering strategies to analyze construction contracts and building plans in order to identify those assets that qualify for accelerated depreciation for tax purposes. Yonah's team will always perform at no cost feasibility analysis on your property to demonstrate the financial benefit on a year-by-year basis of having such a study performed versus not performing the study. They also work in all 50 states. To see how much taxes will save you this year, then contact Yonah at area code 732-298-9002. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Nick. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you having me on the show. That was a great rendition.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. I'm excited. Like I said, this is special. You're educated, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna do the About section. I like to do research before I have a person on this type of podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, he's humble and he believes in educating people. Also, he's been in the educational field for at least over 15 to 20 years. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay,
that, yeah.
That's an example. So before we begin, ladies and gentlemen, we focus on three things. We deal with, number one, we deal with motivation, teaching, and perspective. So the first question is, what motivates you? What got you started in this type of business? But before we answer that, tell us a little bit about yourself. I just want them to know, because, ladies and gentlemen, I want him back more than just this episode here. I want him to deal with, we deal with personal development and business leadership. He's a leader here, and he does, and it's not easy. So he said it. So, but just tell him, give him a little story about how you began. How was your childhood or whatever?
Oh man, no, this is great. Let's see a little bit about me. I grew up in Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah, never really had a desire to get into business or to do anything. Like you said, I was a teacher for many years, and that's my passion. I love whether it's children. I have 6 children myself, so I'm a teacher, every day. But even on a much higher postgraduate level, which is where I did most of my teaching, it's my desire to help people to realize their full potential. And that's really what a good teacher does. And so that's, for me, I mean, I really got into real estate about 5-6 years ago, and it kind of led me to a few different paths, but eventually to this cost segregation company.
Okay.
I'm not an accountant or an engineer by training, but thankfully have them on our team that they're the experts, and I kind of draw from their expertise.
Gotcha.
And you take this really ridiculously complicated sounding concept. Like you read a little bit about that, but I'm sure like most of the people that listen were like just like went over their head in terms of what it is exactly that cost segregation is, what we do. I'm a very religious person. I believe in God. I believe that we're all created as God's children, and we're here to help each other, and that's to make this world a better place. And so for me, for everyone, that takes form in different ways. And so for me, where I'm at this stage in life, it's how can I give back? Like, how can I do and help others in whatever way I can? And whether it's in the form of business, which I believe helping people, create more financially sound decisions in terms of their investments.
Because that's a principle in the text booklet. The great text booklet. If everyone know the great text booklet is called the Bible.
Yeah.
That's a principle of business. Am I right? To take care of business. That's one form. You got to show a good steward of business. Am I correct?
Yeah, you have to be honest, integrity. You have to really show the world what it's like to be a good person in all of your dealings, especially business dealings. So that's really important to me, and helping people. And like I said, just teaching, educating people about this concept. So let me take like 30 seconds and just break down what cost segregation is, and then we'll get into the motivation, because I think once you understand what it is, you'll just be like, whoa, blow my mind.
Because that's the type of listeners. I appreciate that, because we're getting educated on this. Most of the listeners are starting out as real estate investors, but they eventually want to become a passive investor in multi-family properties, the apartment complexes. So I'm glad you educating them on that. So go.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether you want to be passive or active, if you are invested in real estate or thinking about real estate, it comes with these great tax benefits. And the one biggest tax benefit is called depreciation. And it's a great concept. The concept means things are going down in value, but the IRS gives you a tax deduction called depreciation. Okay. So it's not really based on the concept. It's based on the concept, but it has nothing to do with it. Meaning you have a property, you can now take a tax write-off, a tax deduction of the entire value of that property over a certain period of time. And that's based on the concept that things go down in value, even though your property is probably going up in value. Right. And so that's why I say it's based on the concept, but it's not intrinsic to the actual value of the property. So that's the great thing about this. Accelerated depreciation, cost segregation, what we do is, like you said, just breaking down that property into different components and then taking the tax deduction of the value of those individual components at a faster rate. In short, like you said, it's a cash flow tool in order to pay less taxes. And the majority of our clients, and like you said, we work in all 50 states, done thousands of these across every asset class. The majority of our clients pay zero, little to no income tax whatsoever because of this method.
Wow. Right. Literally, you pay. It's some cases you have them pay zero, pretty much close to nothing. Right. So, cost segregation. Here's the next question. That's why I hated to disturb, because I can ask you so many other questions though. So, what led you there? What drove you down that road to represent? To be the authority, to have the team behind you for cost segregation? What led you down that road?
I think it goes back to the concept that I go with the flow. I go with opportunity. And I was not looking to it. I never grew up, thinking, oh, I want to be a cost segregation expert. There was no such idea.
I haven't heard of it, just be honest with you. Yeah. So I started studying it. Yeah. But it's one thing that stands out for those who want to cut costs on their taxes. You're one of the number one authority figure that stands out. So ladies and gentlemen, listen. I advise you to listen in. This is the source. So yeah, I'm listening. I'm all ears, but I didn't know that.
It was kind of me taking an opportunity, and someone, a friend of mine came to me and said, hey, I know this company, they're looking for someone, business development, maybe it's a good fit. I wasn't even looking for anything at the time, really. But I said, hey, if my friend tells me, go and reach out to them, see what's available, take the opportunity. I was at the time doing some real estate brokering, trying to find deals for myself to invest in. And the opportunity came. I said, hey, let's try this out. I met with them. I learned more in depth what cost segregation is from these people who were literally the experts in the subject, but they're like accountants and engineers and not necessarily the best at explaining and not necessarily the best at presenting what this is. And I was blown away with the fact that every single person that I spoke to in the real estate industry, almost nobody had even heard of this concept.
So you're telling me, which, for example, most of the people that's in passive or multifamily, they're not too familiar either, right? They weren't too familiar on the perks compared to real estate investors, which I just, like I said, I've been investing for 19 years. I wasn't aware of this either. I always hear it, but when I studied this and I heard you, I was like, wow, that's a lot of savings compared to if you want to go to the next level to apartment complex and you got millions on top of that. That's a big write-off. So
Sure.
man, that's awesome.
So yeah, I mean, I literally just jumped on that opportunity. I said, listen, here's something that, and I think over the past few years, I've made a big impact, having been a guest on over 200 podcasts. I mean, I've had, tens of thousands of people on social media. And so it's something that I take pride in, that I've been able to break that barrier to educate a lot more people. I think in the past few years, people know a lot more about this. And I'd like to believe that a lot of that has to do with me. And that's a huge accomplishment.
Okay. And that leads to the question on their FAQs. What's a tip or a technique that you advise someone that's new to this or whatever wants to take advantage of it, whether they're real estate investing or really a multifamily, which tell them before, it's not just multifamily or real estate investing, it's just with other businesses. Am I correct?
It can be, yeah. I mean, really, it has to do with property. So there are other types of tax deductions for different businesses that if you buy equipment or different, personal property items, that you can take those tax deductions. It's similar as depreciation, but what we do is solely to do with real estate. So any type of business owner, and this is an amazing thing, a lot of business owners might own a property and they don't necessarily consider themselves real estate investors, right? If you are a manufacturer and you happen to own the building that your warehouse is in or your manufacturing facility is in, you can do cost segregation on that property and get those tax deductions. You don't think of yourself as a real estate investor at all. If you're a doctor or a dentist or whatever, and you own the office space that you work out of, you can do cost segregation on that property. From a business level. You won't consider yourself a real estate investor. And so therefore you might overlook this incredible tax benefit.
So based on, since you have your team, if it was a doctor, is there tax attorneys, not the accountants not aware of this? So who should they have besides you on their team? Who was the blame for that? Was it you know what I mean? Who didn't present that? I'm like the Robert Kawasaki on the B&I side, business and investment. I want someone strong to present that to me. Who missed it?
I think the real responsibility in the end of the day is on ourselves. Okay. We have to take our personal finances. We have to educate ourselves. But the problem I've seen is that most accountants are not proactive. Most accountants are people that run numbers, people that file taxes. Okay. There are not enough accountants out there that are proactive, that are giving advice to investors. You should be doing this, in order to save taxes. So because cost segregation cannot be done by accountants, requires that engineering component to it, which is why we have that service in-house. We're not an accounting firm. We specialize specifically in cost segregation. This is something accountants don't do, and therefore they oftentimes just overlook it.
Because one reason it's not cookie cutter. It's designed to their needs, to their field. Am I correct? Everyone's different. So that's one reason I would think why it's not just for any type of accountant. That's where you come into place, where your niche, where that's the reason why you do the analysis, the free analysis, see how we can tailor it to your needs. Am I correct?
100%. That, you got to, like I said, you got to take that responsibility in your own hands, and eventually, you'll be able to see what's best for your situation.
Okay. So that was your why. I kind of jumped the gun on that other earlier part. That was is that why, besides the money? Everybody's trying to get the money because they want financial freedom and all. So Was that your why? And I know you're a teammate and you're loyal, as you said, your friend led you to that.
I think if I would have to say my why, the motivation, a lot of the time, obviously, is my family. My kids want to make sure that they have a, future. But in terms of the business, the main motivation is really to go out of my way to help people, go out of my way to educate people.
Right.
And like I said, people just don't know about us, these subjects. If I can simplify it and in a few minutes give that education that can change a person's life, then, I just keep pushing and doing that over and over and over again. And just don't stop.
Okay. We're just about done here on your perspective. So what are your thoughts so far, since you have over 100 episodes or you've been interviewed or whatever? So let's just say that's been like a year to 2 years, right? Am I right? What do you see in the last 2 years of what you see is about to happen, a trend, or what would you suggest in the next few months or so, especially since we're getting out the pandemic stage? What are you seeing? What's your perspective and thoughts?
I'm seeing a lot of people still pushing hard to buy real estate, to invest.
Okay.
And there's a lot of competition out there, but regardless, the best time is going to be now. And I know it sounds kind of cliche, but if you want to invest, you got to educate yourself and you just got to jump in. And so for myself personally, doing a lot of that, working on deals myself in terms of investing. And so that's what, that's going to make the game changer in people's lives.
Okay. So you're still active. You're still in the field of investing also.
Sure. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, hey, how can they get in contact with you? Got anything that you have to offer? How can they get in contact with you? I definitely appreciate your time because we're going to have you back on soon.
The best way to find me is actually on LinkedIn. I'm very active on that platform. You can also go to yonaHweiss.com. So that's just my website. And anytime you want to reach out, any questions, please feel free.
Okay. Well, Yonah, hey, man, I appreciate your time, man. Your wealth of information, man. Anything the audience or I could help you out with, just reach out to me, man. I'm going to build a bridge. You love building the bridge. I can tell that, man. That's strong, man. But, hey, man, I appreciate your time, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Nick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for your time. And remember, don't condemn, don't complain, because you have a choice to make a change. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us on the Nicholas Brown Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, www.nickbrowninc.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like this show and you are a new real estate investor, then check out one of Nicholas's free reports called the Wholesale Dominator Report, also located on our website, www.nickbrowninc.com/free reports. Be sure to tune in for our next episode. And remember, don't condemn, don't complain, because you have a choice to make a change. Have a great day.